More and more students are pressured with high expectations to succeed in school, be involved in extra activities, finish all their hours of homework on time, as well as work long hours at part-time jobs. But are these aspects actually helping them succeed? Let's take a closer look at what an administrator at a local high school thought about the topic at hand.
So basically, do we, having kids be real involved in academics, but then also real involved in activities, whether it's at this time of year track or soccer or tennis or golf, softball, baseball, are they being overworked? I don't know. I don't think they're being overworked. I do think, though, we really encourage parents to monitor their kids pretty closely and make sure that they don't overextend. Sometimes students become very enthusiastic and they want to be in everything, and then they don't feel very good about anything they're doing. So I think it has to be monitored closely.
So sometimes the problem comes from within the student himself.
I think so.
Or herself.
And I think that there's if you're in the music organization and you're also in athletics and those have conflicts, then there can be kind of clashes, and that can cause kids to feel a lot of stress and pressure. And we really ask that the adults figure out the conflict rather than putting the kids in the middle, because kids want to please their directors and their coaches, and they can feel like they're kind of stuck in the middle. So we want the adults to figure those conflicts out.
The pressure to get good grades, be a strong athlete, and to make friends can be too much for some students.
And some end up self-medicating. Sloan Heller joins us from the newsroom with more. Sloan, good morning.
Good morning, Curtis. You know, some students, we've all felt it, the pressure, whether it's to get straight A's and get into a top college. Others of us have felt really anxious about making, whether it's the football team or the cheerleading squad. And then there are those who are really under social pressures. They're worried about keeping their friends, making new friends if they're starting a new school. These stresses can get so intense that students develop anxiety or depression.
With all the stress put on the students, let's take a look at what a parent had to say.
As a parent, do you think students are too involved in extra activities such as work, sports, or anything consuming their time outside of school?
No, I think kids should be more involved in those activities. I feel that maybe we're overloading them as in a diversification of activities, meaning somebody may have football practice followed by band practice followed by taekwondo all in one night. That is successive. What they need to be able to do is focus on a few activities for a longer period of time.
Every 5 students say they feel stressed out all the time, and many students, because of extra activities, curricular activities, things such as homework and being overworked, have health issues. Does this worry you as a parent?
The reason that most people are stressed out, whether they're kids or adults, is because they have too many devices and too many things to distract their time. Whether it's their cell phones, watching TV, being on a computer, having their extracurricular activities. There's just too many different options and they can't focus on any one thing.
Here.
What's that?
You look like you need pie.
I do?
Violent pencil tossing usually signals a need for pie.
What if I thrown a pen?
I would have brought you a trowel.
What?
I don't make the rules, I just carry them out.
Is the reason students are feeling overwhelmed caused by the large amount of homework given each night? Are teachers giving out too much of it? And how much time are students actually spending on homework? Here, let's take a look.
According to the National Education Association guidelines, a student should be assigned no more than 10 minutes per grade level each night. So a first grader should have no more than 10 minutes of homework. A senior should have no more than 2 hours of homework. That's about 120 minutes. Well, parents, we know, they often devote much more than that, the recommended amount of homework.
Students beginning at 10th grade are supposed to have 10 minutes of homework each night. supposed to increase by 10 minutes per year. So by the time you're a senior, you have about 2 hours of homework. Do you agree with what they say? Especially since you're an AP teacher and it's in your nature to assign a lot more homework.
Well, I don't know. Did you have, in my class, did you have more than?
I mean, there were like ways we would get a little more than 10 minutes or 2 hours a night.
Right. I mean, I probably can't speak to the specific requirement of 2 hours for a senior. What I can say is that probably, given the amount of activities that people are involved in, that if at a smaller high school than ours, we probably could better coordinate when different projects are due at different grade levels. But this is sort of the trade-off with the more choice you have of a lot of different classes that you might take, the harder it is to coordinate between all of those teachers when you're going to get that. The basic premise that you would start with very little in, say, first grade and gradually build from there, I think is a good premise. I think that that happens already, speaking as a parent of a second grader and a fifth grader. But I don't have a particular benchmark in mind of how much should a person do per night. I know that it used to be that some people would say in an AP class, expect an hour of homework a night. Well, that expectation, I think, started in an era when people were taking a couple of AP classes a year, not 5. So 5 hours of homework a night. If every AP teacher thinks that their students are going to go home and spend an hour a night on their class, and we expect people to be involved with school activities and so on, then that is pretty unrealistic.
How many hours on average do you think you spend on homework each night?
6.
And why do you think you have so much homework to do?
Well, I have 5 AP classes, and then on top of that, I like to have good grades, so kind of.
And why do you think you need those good grades? Are you feeling high expectations from teachers, parents, college?
Just everyone in general. I mean, even yourself. You have high expectations for yourself because you want to go to a good college and you want to be that student who walks across the stage and knows they put everything in that they possibly could have.
What extra activities do you participate in?
I'm a varsity swimmer. I'm team captain and a player on the JV1 girls soccer team. I have photo club, FCA, my own youth group. I volunteer at St. Luke's. I have jobs. I am a National Honor Society and Science National Honor Society. I help out with dance marathon and any key club thing that I want to do. I did German club briefly. Didn't really fall through a little bit, yeah. Anyway, and I do cast and I do indoor soccer and, I mean, social life, I think, sometimes.
How many hours in a week do you think you work?
Usually a minimum of 15.
And do you have plans to work this summer?
I have 3 jobs so far for the summer. I have my barista job at Starbucks, which I hope to work most hours at, and then I have a lifeguarding job at Nullridge and lessons job at Nullridge and Bender, I believe, and then on top of that, I'm supposed to babysit.
And why do you have to work so much?
To pay for college and pay for my clothes and my gas and, you know, important life things. Food, punch. Takes a lot of money.
So are you worried about debt?
Yes, definitely. I have to take out student loans for next year. I've already embraced it. There's just only so much you can make up with scholarships, and unless your parents are paying for it, you're pretty much screwed. I'm Sydney Hoffaber, and I'm going to be in debt till I'm 40.
My name is Cindy. I majored in biology and I have $35,000 in student loans.
I have a BA in film and television producing and I have a debt of $65,000.
And my debt is about $33,000.
It's about $130,000.
$80,000. And as of today, I have $160,000 in debt.
$50,000 in debt.
Just saying this is terrifying, especially to a camera, because it makes it so much more real.
So you heard a teacher, a parent, a student, and an administrator talk about the topic at hand, and there's no really right answer for that. So you be the judge, and you decide, are students being overworked, or is a little stress good for them, and are they just complaining about nothing?